Good afternoon, evening, wherever you are, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Worldwide Football. As always, I'm your host, Connor Pajuelo, here with my co-host, Matthew Rothman, team member John, and team member Alejandro. Welcome back to another episode, everyone. And after a wonderful, very chilly, very snowy week, after getting hit by a storm that too many people exaggerated, I'm looking at the Aldis that I live 5 minutes from that got completely raided. But yeah, we got to sit back and enjoy just another excuse to enjoy all of the Premier League action. And the biggest one coming from this weekend was Arsenal dropping points at home to Manchester United in a wonderful contested 3-2 victory for Manchester United under interim manager Michael Carrick, something that we've seen already happen back several years ago. But just to start the video off, Matthew, what are your thoughts on the game as a whole? What did you think about it?
Yeah, I think it was really interesting overall. I think Manchester United, it was a deserved win to say the least. I thought first like 20 or so minutes, I didn't think United got off to the best of starts. I thought Arsenal did have that
Now, Arsenal
control of possession.
dominated, I would say, a good portion of the first half.
Yeah. And ultimately they got a goal, albeit the own goal. But all it took was like one mistake by Arsenal. And I think that was the big turning point, I would say, in that game, because after Zubamendi made that mistake, which led to Mbomo getting the goal, like Manchester United, I would say, pretty much dominated after that. I can't recall, like, up until that second goal by Arsenal, that Arsenal actually created any clear cut chances. Whereas United, they were always going at Arsenal's defense. Even if they weren't getting shots on, they were always testing their defenders with playing the ball through the middle or even going out wide with Dorgu and Ahmad. So yeah, I think overall the better team won. I think Manchester United, they'll really like what they've done so far under Carrick.
They're top four.
Yeah, they're top four right now. Funnily enough, is he the guy moving forward? Still to be determined, I would say. But I think if you're Arsenal, you're going to be very disappointed with not just the result, but the overall performance. It's like a constant theme, I would say, in recent matches, especially in the Premier League, where they've drawn to, for example, Nottingham Forest. They've drawn to Liverpool recently as well. Even the recent win in the Premier League as well wasn't the best of performances either. And I think for them, there's a lot of questions moving forward in that attack in particular, because if I were to tell you right now, Leandro Trossard leads his team in goals in the Prem, and we're in basically in February now because their next Premier League game is in February. It's absolutely insane.
Johnny, what about you?
Yeah, I thought Victor Gyökeres is useless. I thought that Dorgo was absolutely insane. Um,
Now,
uh,
what kind of development manager, what kind of coach told him to be a fullback? This brother's a winger through and through, man. Come on.
uh, yeah, Dorgo was that goal was absolutely insane. That's arguably the goal of the year for Manchester United. Um, yeah, that's a successful hate watch against Arsenal. Was hate watching Liverpool the day before against Bournemouth with that last second goal. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
Moroccan King Adli coming in clutch.
if I could see Arne Slot live another week, that'd be hilarious.
I seriously doubt
Um,
it. But I'll leave that video once he gets fired and once they inevitably bring in Alonso.
The funny part with that United win, especially after it for Arsenal, the Twitter
Um,
profile Hater Central, he literally went on a whole roll with like just going after all the Arsenal players that played like absolute trash that game.
I mean,
So
yeah.
in total was seven different Arsenal players that he was like, yeah, they sucked.
I mean, who in that Arsenal team did you really think had a decent game? And I say decent game.
I'd say none of them
Yeah,
really.
exactly.
Like Saka was probably their best player, and even he
And
was like a 4 out of 5, 4
Alejandro,
out of 10 at best.
Alejandro, what did you make of most of the game when you watched it? I know you must have been like watching it like, what the hell am I watching from this team?
Bro, that Dorgu goal was crazy. Like John said, crazy, bro. And then Cunha, That was my favorite goal. Cunha's
Mm.
goal. The way he like used the defender as like kind of like a shield with the little curve, like down low curve. It was beautiful,
No, the
bro.
way he curved it around Gabriel was insane. That was a fantastic finish.
Great game all around for United. That's all I can say, bro. They look beautiful that game.
Not for real. And we're seeing a very this is it goes to show because Johnny Matt, y'all remember Jawed from RM, right?
Of
Name ring a
course.
bell? Yeah.
Yep.
So he's like the one other United fan that I know other than like my brother's friend. And I had to hear from him for months just how much Ball used to make him want to cry. And then with this, we just both with this win, we just both essentially agree. Yeah, Amorim deserves the 7 layers of hell for what he was doing with this United side because
Right.
albeit you can say what you want about, some of the players that clearly aren't good enough anymore, like Dallo. Well, Casemiro is just old, so I'm not going to go too hard on him. Luke Shaw in 2026, even though he did a fantastic job locking up Saka, which is already a crazy statement when you really think about it. But overall, he's done well with these crop of players, and this is not the first time he's done well as an interim. Am I saying he needs to get the job full time? I really hope United don't make the same mistake that they did with Ollie, but it's something to build off of, and it's clear that this is how United are meant to be set up, not that terrorism three in the back bullshit that Amorim was trying to do.
They had a great flow. Passing was good. Everything just looked good, bro.
The
Um,
Dorgu goal was take the Dorgu goal aside. The link up play with him and Fernandez on that goal, that wonderful 1-2 passing, and then the volley was just incredible.
I think
And of course
especially
the
under Carrick, like it's a lot better with Bruno because he's meant to be that glue guy for United. And sometimes under Amorim, he was sort of playing him a bit further back, which
which was
even though he
stupid.
was somewhat effective, it still wasn't, the best spot to make him to get the most out of him. So
Amorim
yeah,
was playing wingers at wing back, and he thought that would be a good idea. And then he thought Dalot was somewhat good enough.
but yeah, I think it just showed like the importance of Bruno Fernandez that a lot of people still, I think, tend to underrate him. Um, no, he's still one of the best when it comes to chances created. I believe he leads the Prem actually in assists right now. Um, amongst like the top and also the top five leagues, only Elise might be above him. But yeah, he's been fantastic in terms of league play when it comes to creating chances and linking up. And that second goal proved it.
Yeah, it is Fernandez with 10 assists, the most in the league right now. For a United side like this, that is pretty impressive. But regarding
Yeah,
Arsenal, and Matt, you mentioned Twitter, the whole of Twitter, and you can say what you want about Twitter, Twitter FC, especially when it comes to the Arsenal side of it. They really hated what they saw and mentally, because I also saw the picture of Gabrielle crying right when the game ended. It seems like in the 7 years that Arteta's been in charge, like mentally wise, it just I don't know. I don't want to speak too soon, but from what we're seeing right now, from Arteta from a few seasons ago, where he had one of the best, most frightening attacks in the league, that was going band for band with Manchester City, to now seeing this almost Stoke City, West Bromwich Albion. Not I can't even say like prime Chelsea because even Park the Bus Mourinho style wasn't this bad, but. It just seems like
hey,
for
at
the
least he
sake of
won trophies
defense,
at
for
the
the
end,
sake
right?
of defense, they refuse to acknowledge the absolute mid that is their attack this season. Because I told this to you before, Matt. None of their attackers, and Saka's already has been having a bad season, but none of their attackers you could really classify as world class. They're all mid.
yeah.
Like Alejandro, could you take one player, one guy from the Arsenal front line that you say that has had somewhat of a decent season? No puedes, no? No, you can't. You really can't. Madueke was another waste of money. And again, Chelsea once again fleecing Arsenal for their for their rubbish,
Matt
for their
Lake is yet to
garbage
even
players.
record a goal contribution in the league. Like, and you pay all that
Yakutas
money for him.
Yakutas is already enough said. He came on off the bench and just absolutely did
His only
nothing.
highlight was literally like not only fouling Martinez so that even if he made that goal, it wouldn't have counted, but he's literally one on one with Lamins, and he literally plays like a defender and clears that ball at the end instead
I
of
love the 442
actually
vids that
going
came
for
out. He
goal.
was like when Maguire said he's a better defender than me, and it's just he plays like he has Timberlands on. As you said, you mentioned Trossard. I like Trossard. Don't get me wrong. I do like Trossard. But he, at his best, he is a good squad player. He's not a ceiling raiser that can take a game by the scruff of the neck. And that's kind of what a lot of fans in Arsenal are criticizing Arteta for. When he relies too much on his tactics and he wants everyone to play the way that he needs them to play, in moments where you need someone to step up, there's no one that can really do that because everyone's stuck in the way that Arteta wants to set up. And the problem with Arteta is that, unfortunately, he doesn't seem to have a plan B in these instances other than hope for a corner, bombard the keeper, and hope that the ball goes in. Because granted, that's I need someone to run me a percentage of how many goals that Arsenal, the goals Arsenal scored this season, how many of them have been from set pieces.
Well, it's over a third, and I think that's even being generous. But go back to Mikel Arteta, I would say. I think when you just look at the pattern of play, the style of play from Arsenal over the past few years, like I remember in 2022, 23, the way that they were playing, it was like very, unique. It was a lot more direct play. You got more out of that sort of quote unquote beautiful football that, you know, supposedly, fans were talking about. I think that was probably the best style of play Arsenal had. Then since then, I think it has progressively gotten worse, in the years after. The year after, you know, wasn't as good. It was still fine. But I think last year I wouldn't say was great. And this year I think it's just gotten, especially boring, I would say, because they're not really getting much out of their attack, like you said, and even the midfield, like besides Declan Rice, who by the way in that game was probably his worst performance of the season. Overall, I think the midfield still has problems. I look at a guy like Martin Odegaard, like you're getting hooked after 58 minutes as a captain. Like in no way is that acceptable, and we've seen him get worse over time as well. Whether it's him slowing down play or whether it's him also, not linking up well with any of the guys in attack. So there's a lot of questions I would say, Mikel Arteta has to sort of answer with this team because, it's one thing when you get your goals, from set pieces, sure, it's working. But it's like when it comes to, is it sustainable? Fine, they've done it all season. They've done it previously before, but you know, is that something that's going to win you, multiple trophies? Is
It's
it
not.
something that you could carry till the end of the season? Still to be determined, but as of right now, and after that United game, and what we've seen previously in some of the Premier League matches against Forest, against Liverpool, looks like unless, they're betting on results with City and Villa dropping points, it looks like it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable.
Hey,
I mean, they more
what are you
open.
guys' opinions on Odegaard, by the way? I want to hear from everybody.
Let me touch real quick on uh like kind of what Matt was just saying, right?
Mm.
They need more open play goals. These set pieces are great. They look good. They get the job done a little, but you need open play goals. And the problem is that when you think, oh, we're gonna bring in Gyökeres, he's gonna be the solution. And on paper, it looked like that. He was competing last season for like most goals in Europe with Mbappe, right? So that's a level that right when he came to Arsenal, the fall off was crazy. I haven't seen much from him, not nowhere near the level of last year. And I understand it's a different league, but you can't just be like, okay, we brought this guy in, he's the solution. And what is he doing?
Yeah, because people for years are talking about Arsenal were missing that killer instinct up front, especially when you have someone like Havertz up front. John knows that very well, except one brought them a Champions League trophy. Uh, but yeah, they were looking for that killer. And all they were saying for years, like all Arsenal needs is a killer nine. They bring in someone that likes of Gyökeres, and he just has not been clicking to the point where people are saying we should have gone for Benjamin Šeško instead. Say what you want about Šeško this season, but I'd say he's a lot more talented up front than Gyökeres has been. I mean, Gyökeres is 27, Šeško is what, 22, I believe. There's a
Yeah,
lot more that
22.
could there's a lot more that could be said for them. But going back to the question I asked, everyone here, and start Johnny, I'll start with you. What do you guys think of Odegaard? Because compared to the Odegaard we saw in 22, 23, where he was absolutely world class, since then, what the hell happened?
Yeah, listen, Odegaard's still a good player. and I say this as a Chelsea fan, he's having a down year. I think mentally he's just kind of weak. He's just not there. Um,
Lad, he's a captain.
I know he's the captain, and I know there's debate that he should be stripped of being a captain. Um, do you think the question is whether is do you think stripping his captaincy now would end up hurting the team and breaking a bunch of trust in the locker room? Or do you think he should continue to wear the captain's armband to try and lead the team? Ultimately, though, I think he's just been mentally, he's just not been there. He's been out of it. And it shows. I mean, he has what, like a third of the normal goal contributions that he normally gets.
It's just I don't know if it's the way Arteta sets up the team up or if it's just mentally as well. It's just the way he plays now. It's just he plays too scared. It's the same criticism I give De Jong as well. He plays too scared. He doesn't want to take those risky passes. With De Jong, I could kind of give a bye because he plays deeper, but this is Odegaard we're talking about.
Yeah,
This is your
Odegaard
main
plays more
chance
advanced.
creator, and you're not doing the one job you're meant to be doing. And say what you want about Eze. I don't know what happened to Eze as well. And it just seems like after the Spurs game, he's just kind of stagnated and he still hasn't really found his feet in this Arteta system so far. And that honestly hurts because I really do like Eze. But yeah, this is a little bit of a weird period for Arsenal because now they have to. I mean, granted, they're still, they still have a good number of points ahead of the league, but with City now bringing in Semenyo and Mark Gay and Aston Villa still hitting on all cylinders, we we could see the beginning of what we've seen over the years, which is Arsenal season starting off well and then gradually going down to the point where if they really do, and I'm just saying, if they really do bottle the league this year again for a fourth year, is it time to say goodbye to Arteta?
I think without question, because it's like you can't go, you know, what this is the seventh year he won the FA Cup his first season. You can't go 6 straight years at Arsenal without a trophy.
With all the backing
Like I
he's
don't
gotten
care
as well.
whatever coach you are. Like you can't go 6 straight seasons without a trophy. And especially the way that if let's say they were to lose the trophy this season, the Premier League trophy this season, if they were to lose it, I don't know how he could be back. He was up 7 points, easily could have been 9 points, probably could have been more, but ultimately you see some of the games where they don't take advantage and that falls on the coach.
Mm. Johnny?
Yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head with that one. It would be absolutely hilarious personally if I see Aston Villa go through and take over and potentially win the league Leicester style. Um, just Unai Emery being there and former Arsenal coach basically stripping the trophy
Unai
from
Emery
Arsenal.
has been hating on Arsenal ever since he got fired, and it's honestly the
That would be
funniest thing ever.
absolutely hilarious.
I still remember when he knocked him out of the Europa semi and then went on to win the Europa with Villarreal of all teams against Manchester United. But
Yeah.
Alejandro, do you really think this could be Arteta's final year if they don't win the title?
If they don't win anything, he's gone. You got to
Hmm.
take the captaincy from Odegaard to light some fire under his ass to make him perform better.
Who would you pick as captain for Arsenal?
Ooh, that's tough, bro. I would say even though he didn't have a good game, I'll probably give it to Declan Rice.
I'd say either Declan Rice or Gabriel would probably be
Yeah, that would be my
the
two,
obvious picks,
Rice or Gabriel.
Definitely.
right?
With Arteta, bro, I'm gonna say one thing. He doesn't like to use the youngsters, and Waneri should have been used, bro. You let him go to Marseille. He scored in his last game, and that says something because when you're Arsenal, you need goals. And what are you doing, bro? You got good youngsters that he doesn't want to use.
That's crazy because you have
Now,
a guy on the bench like that that can play in midfield or any position up front, and they just let him go. That's honestly insane to me. But yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you for joining another episode of Worldwide Football. We've enjoyed making this content for you guys. Be sure to follow us on all of our socials for more additional content. And we'll be back for the next video after the last day of the Champions League, which is this week. Thank you guys very much. Have a great rest of your night.
peace.